Hello, everyone. Anja Pabe here, the head of course for the MBA Leadership. In this short video, I would like to unpack the applied project assignment in BUSN20025, the marketing unit. So essentially what you are asked to do for this applied project is to write a 4,000-word marketing plan. And this particular marketing plan follows the structure of a report. Within this 4,000-word limit, you need to try and fit everything in, essentially the executive summary, the introduction, the analysis, the main body, the conclusion references, and any appendices that you might wish to attach to your report. So before you actually commence the task, it's a good idea to actually complete all the learning activities up to this point. As a rough estimation, it's also a good idea to include approximately 4 references per 500 words from the CQ library. So try to include as much peer-reviewed literature as possible. If you have trouble setting up your EndNote or you have other questions about references, feel free to book an appointment with a librarian, or alternatively, feel free to join our student support sessions, which are every Wednesday. And here you can ask any of your assessment related questions, even if they're reference related or EndNote related. And if you would like to have a look at a marketing plan template, there is a link provided here on the Be Different platform where you can click on, and that takes you to, I think it's the government website that gives you a really good idea of what a marketing plan actually looks like. But keep in mind that your assessment piece that you're going to be submitting is an academic piece. So obviously there is a need for academic references to be included. So just following the task summary or the task description, you are asked to develop a marketing plan that follows the structure again of a business report with no more than 4,000 words long, including all the different sections that you actually want to include. And to do this, you actually have the choice between 2 different topics, and I'll talk you through the different topics towards the end of this video. Follow the task description. So you are expected to reflect and respond on seminal questions on business related to strategic marketing. And an important aspect of this process is reflection and bringing ideas together and applying them to a relevant scenario. And this scenario in this particular case is obviously linked to the 2 particular options you have for completing this applied project. So you need to demonstrate your capacity to assimilate knowledge and also the capacity to develop an argument that is necessary to clearly present your ideas to an audience that might actually be unfamiliar with whatever goes on in this particular report. And of course, try to support your ideas with appropriate academic referencing and evidence to support any of the statements that you're making. So the actual task is to undertake market research to identify a suitable marketing strategy for a product or service within your chosen organization or the chosen topic that you actually end up going with for this particular assessment. And your marketing strategy should follow the structure of a business report, and it should include the following sections. So obviously a title page, and feel free to use the cover page that is being circulated as part of the monthly newsletter, and you may have also come across it in the earlier units. So an appropriate title page that basically includes all your identifying details would be really helpful. Then your executive summary, So the executive summary is normally a short section at the start of a report that summarizes all the key parts of the main document. And so this executive summary is normally the go-to section for busy executives, because they may not have the time to read the entire, say, 200-page document. And so they may just wish to focus on the executive summary to still become familiar with what the overall document is actually trying to say. And so because this is actually quite sharp, quite succinct as a document, it is normally written last. So try to keep that in mind when you're writing your marketing plan. Try to write your executive summary last. Then a quick introduction to the report or the assessment overall. So try to provide some background information on your chosen organization, and also try to include a problem statement. So reflect on the background of the strategic marketing initiative and try to identify what really is the problem that the product or the service is facing. And why is it problematic? So is it something to do with the pricing, the promotion, the distribution of the product? Is there maybe just a general lack of awareness around the existence of a product or a service? And also try to consider the organization's overall corporate strategy, because there's normally a link between an organization's overall strategy, the corporate strategy, and the marketing plan. Obviously, the marketing strategy feeds from the corporate strategy. Then it's always helpful to have some kind of situational analysis happening. So try to use tools such as the SWOT analysis and the PESTEL analysis to identify factors that might support or hinder how the marketing strategy is actually devised, executed, and evaluated. Try to include some objectives, and in designing a solution to meet whatever it is that problem that you have identified in your introduction and problem statement section. So in designing a solution to meet the market, try to include 2 to 4 realistic marketing objectives. And those objectives should relate to the identified problem and the situation analysis. And all those objectives should be described using SMART objectives, or the SMART approach. So they should be specific, they should be measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So just as an example, you could, for example, include the objective of driving newsletter signups by increasing the click-through rates on social media by 5% in 2 months' time. So you can see it is quite specific. It states exactly what this is about. It's about driving newsletter signups. It's measurable because it mentions the 5%. And it's also time-based because it mentions the example of we'd like to achieve this within a 2 months time frame. But obviously the objectives would depend on the analysis that you are conducting in your situational analysis. And those objectives may be, they may include things like acquiring new customers, maybe driving positive word of mouth recommendations, strengthening brand awareness, or even encouraging purchase behavior. So that essentially depends on what the problem is you have identified and the situation analysis. Then a market segmentation analysis should clearly identify the relevant market segments that the marketing plan is trying to speak to. Targeting is really important as well. It's essentially you can't be everything to everyone in the market, because obviously we don't have unlimited financial resources and unlimited human resources. So we need to be quite targeted in who we want our marketing campaign to actually include. And from a marketing segmentation point of view, there is several different segmentation approaches you could actually include in your assignment. So they could follow the demographic segmentation approach, so focusing on what's the age, gender, family life cycle of your potential target market. You could also follow psychographic market segmentation approaches. So what is it that your target market is actually looking for in terms of values? What's their attitudes and interests? Another segmentation approach is that of geographic segmentation. So where's that target market situated? Is it in an urban or a rural area? Is it, what's the city size like? What's the climate like? So is it in tropical North Queensland, or is it in Melbourne, which seriously can have any season happening in a matter of a day? And behaviorally, what is that segment actually looking for? So are they quite loyal to a brand? Are they quite price sensitive? Are they a regular user? So those are the most frequently used segmentation approaches. So just to reiterate, demographic, psychographic, geographic, or behavioral segmentation approaches. And that would actually be quite helpful to include in your segmentation analysis. Then you might also write about brand positioning and brand prioritizing. So brand positioning is essentially how the product is positioned in the minds of the customers. And that is quite important in actually trying to develop a competitive advantage. So if you find out how a customer actually distinguishes one product from another product in the market, then that can actually help to identify, how to capitalize on a competitive advantage. And so any of those are actually helpful in actually developing a potential distribution channel and communication strategy to talk to your identified target market. Then your marketing mix strategy needs to cover any specifics in relation to the 4 Ps. So the product, price, promotion, and place, or distribution aspects. Your implementation and evaluation strategy should provide some recommendations on how your chosen organization should actually go forward in their marketing campaign. The implementation plan should consider the effectiveness of the overall marketing strategy and how it may actually relate back to the corporate strategy and how organizational resources could be used to accomplish the marketing mix strategy. And in the evaluation section, you might also want to consider any expected outcomes of the plan overall. And you might also wish to consider any legal, ethical, or societal influences that might impact on the effectiveness of your marketing strategy. Now, the conclusion is a quick summary of the key points of your marketing plan. And please ensure that you provide appropriate evidence of research and a reference list that follows the APA referencing conventions. So as part of the evidence of research, you may wish to draw on readings and marketing concepts and theories to support your main points in your marketing report, and that obviously includes the peer-reviewed journal articles, maybe textbooks on marketing literature, useful websites. For example, the Australian Bureau of Statistics might actually be quite helpful when you write about your segmentation analysis, or websites such as Austrade or Doing Business or any other state or Commonwealth authority website could be considered quite useful here. Now, in the beginning, I told you there's 2 options to choose from. Option number 1 would be the organization you currently work for, which I always think is a good idea because it encourages deep learning. You're actually writing about something that is currently relevant in your working lives, in your professional lives. However, if you choose to go with this option, you might actually be required to include a letter of support from your employer, approving that the report should be basically around their organization. And obviously CQU will ensure that your submission remains confidential. Now, the other option is a fictitious company, AI robotics. And here you just need to visualize yourself in the position as the head of the marketing department, and you guys are currently, or your company are currently in the market of entering the driverless vehicle market with a new driverless vehicle, and the company's board has expressed concerns about the potential negative impact of recent media reports about incidents involving driverless vehicles. So you might actually need to get a bit more familiar with what this driverless car space is all about. And to get you started, there are 2 helpful links here that actually encourage you to, get a bit of knowledge on this topic. A last word on just the overall structure of your report. Try to make sure that you use appropriate headings and subheadings to guide your reader, to guide your marker, which is obviously quite helpful in taking them through a journey. And feel free to use these particular the structure here that is clearly outlined as part of your task description. Feel free to use those headings and subheadings in your report. And we have also shared the rubric with you. So the rubric is normally a really helpful document to actually check that you have completed the required task. And it's also really helpful to see how your marker will grade your assessment. So have you actually completed the required task? Have you defined the problem and clearly stated what the issue actually was? How did you tackle the analysis of the problem using things like the SWOT pestle analysis? You propose a new solution through the 2 to 4 marketing objectives. Clearly identify the implementation and evaluation strategies and any expected outcomes that you might have in mind as part of the marketing plan. And the ability to structure your report using appropriate headings and subheadings and like appropriate transitions and paragraphs. And last but not least, the ability to write. So I hope you found this short little video helpful in unpacking the applied project for the marketing unit. If you have any questions, feel free to email the academic team or join the student support session on Wednesday evenings to ask any of your questions. Okay, bye for now.